Hey everyone, John here. So, a while ago, a few months back, one of my subscribers, a dude named DTB1217, had been asking me to do a review, giving my thoughts on Casey Undercover. So I actually went and sat down and watched the first two seasons a couple months back. And I had taken notes on it, so I thought, hey, now's as good a time as any to finally make a video giving my thoughts. Now, I would say that my overall thoughts on the series, if you want a short version, is that the show is fine. An accurate word to describe the show might be decent. Definitely a show that at first I was like, I'm not sure how much I'm liking it, but it grew on me a little more over time. I think the show improved. I don't know how the third season is because I hadn't gotten the chance to watch it. I watched the first two seasons, which were available on Hulu at the time. I'll have to go back and watch more in the future, and I'll give updates further, but what I've seen from the first two seasons is pretty solid. Now, the show is basically about a teenage girl named Casey, and she's portrayed by Zendaya, who's a common Disney Channel star, and she's a pretty good actress. She does the role here pretty well. Pretty solid performance. Now, she has this family of spies, and one day she learns that in the first episode, she figures out that she is part of a family of spies, and then she's a spy. So they have to recruit her to be a spy, test her. Turns out she's very good at it. Now, with this being a spy show, it's basically an action comedy. The show has a good amount of action sequences in it. It makes good use of special effects. I remember watching the first episode, and it has this one very well choreographed action sequence, this fight scene done really well. Something that kind of hooked me into the show pretty quickly. But then I realized a lot of it's kind of a silly sitcom, although I think it is one that got more action-based, more story-based as it went along. Like I said, improving. There's a number of good action set pieces here. There's a lot of impressive uses of special effects for a Disney sitcom. There's this one episode, I don't know which one it was, that has the characters up in a hot air balloon, and they're up in the sky, and there's these visual effects so that it's all done very well. Now we have a few different characters. There's Casey, played by Zendaya, like I said. A very intelligent girl, pretty confident, but has her insecurities and her flaws too. Pretty solid character. You got her annoying brother who's all nerdy and kind of awkward. He reminds me a little bit of the nerdy brother from Liv and Maddie, where first you kind of find him annoying, but he sort of starts to become more endearing, and he grows on you more over time when you get to know his character. They got the parents who are pretty good characters, and then you have the little sister Judy, who's actually a robot their family adopted, but she, looks and acts like a human. I'm not crazy about her character. I find her to be pretty annoying, honestly. Now, the show does get into a number of story arcs. There's a number of multi-part episodes. Early in the series, you have this one conflict where Casey is struggling with keeping the secret about her being a spy from her best friend, Marissa. Her friend is always, suspicious about what's going on. And, they end up resolving that more over time. But there's a number of good story arcs. The show does get into some interesting, well-done themes about things like friendship and family. It's all done pretty well. Marissa is a pretty enjoyable character as well. Definitely one of the more enjoyable, that kind of sort of ditzy, blonde, sort of bimbo-y type of characters that you see. Kind of feels a little more developed, a little more real than some characters like that you see. Interesting having her kind of in the best friend role as well. That's a little different. Now, as far as episodes that stick out, the show, the weakest episode is an episode that I believe is from season 1. It's called Spy Anoia Will Destroy Ya. It's an action episode that I think was pretty popular because it brings back Bella Thorne, who acted alongside Zendaya on Shake It Up, which is a show I don't mind, by the way. And, they're working together, and Bella Thorne plays the role pretty well, but there's some kind of moral issues that I have with the episode I don't want to get into because I don't want to spoil the episode, but then stuff that kind of is revealed towards the end that bothers me. It's not a terrible episode. I don't even know if I'd call it flat out bad, but it's one that I have issues with. As far as some of the best episodes, There's one that's called First Friend, which is an episode, like I said, that it deals with the theme of friendship, where Casey has to go undercover and befriend, somebody who works. She actually has to befriend the president of the United States' daughter, and it's a kind of a nice, sweet, funny episode. There's other episodes. And other strong episodes are ones that are kind of more story based and involve like the series having a bit of continuity, multi-part episodes, which I haven't watched all of the multi-part episodes because some of them were like missing parts of the episode on Hulu, which is where I watched it, so I missed some of that. But a lot of what I've seen of those are pretty good. We definitely get some strong stuff early into season 2, where you get some story stuff, continuity. I mean, like, I think the story and kind of the action sequences and set pieces and all that definitely could be the stronger aspects of the show. Some of the humor can be dumb and silly, but it can be done well too. Like I said, there's a lot of impressive special effects. Now, one thing I've also noticed is that it does this thing that I have an issue with in sitcoms. One of these days, I might just do an entire video talking about this, where they have a number of subplots in episodes that appear to purely exist just for the sake of getting characters into the episode who don't fit naturally into the main story. I remember there was also other times when you would have a lot of episodes that just don't feature Judy at all, which might seem to contradict what I just said, but like, she's part of their family, she lives in their house, and for some reason she's just like not around for certain episodes with like no explanation. That's kind of strange. But there's other times when they feel like they need to kind of like force certain characters in, not even just to get them in the episode, but to kind of give them more screen time and more to do, which is kind of annoying. I think really good shows have the ability to kind of do that while kind of fitting them more naturally into the main story. I've complained that happens in other shows sometimes, like Girl Meets World and Boy Meets World, but it's just another issue I have with the show, which, like I said, is a pretty solid show, but just, one that I have a couple issues with. Now, the theme song of the show, let's talk about that. The theme song of the show is one that's pretty good. It's first one that I didn't like, and I remember listening to it every episode. I'm thinking, like, this is actually what I initially thought was that it was one of the weaker Disney sitcom theme songs. They have a lot of really good theme songs. I have to do list videos talking about those at some point, but this one actually grew on me over time. It's pretty catchy. Zendaya sings it and she does it pretty well. There's some lyrics that are pretty well written. It's not necessarily among my favorites, but the more I listen to it, the more I realize, yeah, it's actually a pretty good theme song. Like I said, I think the show starts off a little weaker, but gets better as it goes along. Season 2 has a lot of episodes early on with some very good kind of stuff that I think is worth respecting and worth appreciating, with some good writing, well-written stories, like I said, good action set pieces, all that stuff. As the show was going on, and as it got kind of further later into the second season, I was kind of getting a little bored with it. Like, I do think that it's a solid enough show, one that I will return to at some point, maybe give reviews of some individual episodes if I find ones worth talking about, but yeah, overall, I would say it's definitely a solid show. It's one that I can somewhat recommend to you. I think if you like Zendaya and you like some of these kind of shows, like, I don't think it reaches the quality of something like Mighty Med or even like Lab Rats, Elite Force, where those shows are very good with the story, the comedy, and the characters, everything. I think like I said, the main thing that the show kind of has issues with, the comedy isn't very good. There's kind of dumb toilet humor and I don't know, silly like butt jokes and things like that kind of hold the show back. But it's pretty solid, and I can see why it is one that's one of the more popular Disney sitcoms, has a pretty solid adult audience. So yeah, it's something that I can give somewhat of a recommendation. I like I said, I'll probably talk more about in the future, but for now, that's my thoughts on the first 2 seasons. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you really liked it, and look forward to some more videos from me in the future. Like I said, I'm still trying to work on that. It's a classified review, but yeah. So look forward to that. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.